All right, so here we have a 2017 Toyota Tacoma TRD Sport. This is the rear-wheel drive version. This has a base price of
$33,000.
and this particular one as spec'd was
around $38,000.
It's powered by a 3.5 liter V6 that produces 278 horsepower and 265 pounds of torque. The truck weighs 4,600 pounds. It has a towing capacity of 3,500 pounds and a payload in the bed of 1,370 pounds. So this is a rear-wheel drive version, but there is a four-wheel drive version of the TRD Sport. The wheels on the truck are 17-inch. The tire size is 265/65/17. So the Tacoma is a mid-size truck, which means it's easier to drive around and maneuver in and out of spaces and things like that. It actually works pretty well as a daily driver, which is what I've been using it as for the past 2 years or so that I've had it. I'm actually selling this particular truck, and I'll put a link in the description to the Auto Trader listing if anyone's interested in buying it. This is actually the only non-Pro that I found available that has a leather seating package from the dealer. Usually you can only get that on the TRD Pro as standard. As you can see on the front of the truck, it has a little bit more sporty of an appearance. There's actually a little bit of aero and things like that going on. You can tell that this is the current generation of the truck, mostly by the grille in the front, also the headlights. Another thing this truck has is an intake cutout here that is actually non-functional. It doesn't go through to the inside of the hood. It's blocked off, as you can see there. Another interesting thing about this truck that I didn't realize until I had it for a while was it has little bits of aero flicks here and there. So you see those little fins down there. It's also got them under the rear view mirror here. And that actually is more for wind noise than aerodynamics, but it does help out quite a bit. This truck is relatively silent even at speed. Going to the rear of the truck, you'll see that there's also a little aero flick down here. You'll also notice a few more of those aero flick for sound deadening right around here on the tail light. All right, and as you can see here, this is that 3.5 liter 6-cylinder. I'm gonna have to take it in here pretty soon for an engine detailing before I sell it. And this truck actually never feels lacking for power. It's got just enough power for its size, and you know, obviously the more power you have, the more stopping power you need, and everything just seems pretty well balanced for what this truck is. As you can see, this has the smaller bed with the crew cab. So it has 4 doors and 4 seats, and the shorter bed in the rear. I also have a aluminum tonneau cover on the back that's a trifold. So it's got 3 different sections, which I'll show you a little bit later. And this is what the truck looks like with the tailgate down. As you can see, I do have a tonneau cover on the back. Once again, is a trifold aluminum cover made by a company called Rough Country, as you can see there. I think it was about $380 or something like that. Not too expensive, pretty easy to install, and it locks when the tailgate is shut, which is great. And as you can see on the inside, I've got a flat bed mat, and this also has the bed liner installed from the factory. Another cool thing about this is it actually has a little footstep that you can retract if you want to. So if I pull it out, you can see it gives you a little step that you can use to get into the bed if you need to. Now this tonneau cover in the rear, in order to open and close it, like I said, when the tailgate is closed, you can't really open it. So I need to open the tailgate, and then if you look underneath, you'll see that there's this latch with a cable coming out of it. There's actually one on each side. You just pull those, both of those cables. They're kind of like shifter cables on a bicycle, and it's gonna release the latch here. So this is what it looks like with the first panel folded back. And as you can see, the second panel has the exact same thing, and that's how you release that as well. You just pull those cables and delatch it. And you also see these straps here. You can actually use those to hang things off of it if you want to, or when it's all the way in the upright position, you can actually lock it open if you want to. This is what it looks like with both panels folded forward. The third panel doesn't fold forward for obvious reasons, but you have easy access to the truck bed once all that's there. And then with it folded all the way open, if you need to keep it open like that, you can actually take these little buckle straps. You can see they connect into themselves, and you can store them that way and hang things off of them, or you can unbuckle them and buckle them down to the side to keep this thing open. And with those buckles locked in place onto the back panel, you can see that it keeps the tonneau cover from lifting up. So if I try to lift it, right, make it stuck on there. So that's a great way to keep the bed open if you need it to be, but you can still keep the tonneau cover attached. So I do have a couple things obviously sitting in the back of the bed right now. I didn't have time to put those away before I took the truck out. But as you can see, it's got a carpet lining inside the bed, which comes up like this. And it's also got or tie down hooks over here in the corners. Over on this side, you actually have a power outlet. And then inside of these are just two little storage areas you can put things in. So there's one there, and there's one on the other side. And those just screw open, you can store some things inside there. In the back of the bed, or actually I should say the front, you can see that there are hooks back there as well. And then this rail here that you see, this is actually the install rail for the tonneau cover. So it's pretty easy to set up. Now, another thing you notice on this truck is that the windows are tinted. So the rear window and that little sliding piece and all that, as well as the rear side windows, were all tinted from the dealer, at least when I got it. I'm not sure if that was factory, if the dealer installed it, but the front side windows were not tinted. And I don't believe you're allowed to in California past a certain level. This might be too dark legally, but I'm not sure. But I had them, I took it to a place and had them match the tint to the rear windows just so it looked a little bit cleaner. So is everything together. All right, so moving on to the inside of the truck. I've already got the door open. So it has keyless entry. That means if you tap your hand on the back of this handle, it will unlock. You have the key in your pocket, and if you tap these little lines right here, it will lock it. So this only works on the driver's side door handle. It's not like, a high-end European car where it works on pretty much every door. Then moving on to the inside, the door is pretty straightforward. It's basically plastic paneling, and then it has this sort of like rubberized material here. I believe in the TRD Pro, this is either carbon fiber or leather. Over here, you have your door handle. Down here, you have your switches for your front and rear windows, left and right, as well as your lock and unlock buttons, and then a window lockout switch. You can see that you only have automatic up and down for the front windows. And then you have a handle right here for pulling the door closed. And then down here you have two cup holders as well as a little extra space on the side there. Speaker integrated here. And as I mentioned before, this has a leather package, which usually only comes in the TRD Pro. And it's got the TRD Sport embroidery on the back of the seat. And these seats are actually, pretty comfortable, especially with the leather on top of them. And these are actually a leather cover that the dealer installed, but you can't really see any seams or anything like that, so it does look like it's just part of the seat design, which is great. And it is perforated, even though these aren't ventilated seats. They're not heated either, but it does have this cool perforation, just makes the seats look cooler. And it's got it in the rear as well, which I'll show you in a little bit. And then down here, you can see the floor mats. I actually replaced the rubber floor mats that it comes with normally. So stock, it comes with these rubber floor mats that have little channels in them for obviously getting any water or junk or whatever it is out of the floor mats pretty easily. But I wanted these carpet floor mats instead, so I ordered these, and they have the Tacoma TRD Sport embroidery on them, also with the red and whites that all matches. All right, and then over here on the side, as you can see, this is what the glove box looks like open. I have basically just a bunch of stuff stashed in there, registration papers and insurance and all that. And then you'll see at the top, there's this little booklet inside of a case. That's all the instruction information, all stuff for the truck itself. And if you go up here, you have a grab handle. This is on the A-pillar. Now this only, the grab handle is only on the passenger side. You don't get one on the driver's side. And moving up from there, another interesting thing about this truck, and I don't know if this is on all Tacomas or if this was a special package edition for this specific truck, but it has a built-in GoPro mount. And as you can see, it's actually integrated into the windshield. This is not aftermarket. This was actually just came with the truck. And it's even got the GoPro logo and all that stuff, so it's obviously licensed. And I've actually used this a few times. I actually had a GoPro mounted on there when I was on the racetrack once, following some cars that we were shooting some footage for. And this is actually the only vehicle I've ever driven on a racetrack, having to be this Tacoma. Out of all the cars I've driven, this is the only one I've actually taken on a track. Moving to the center, you have your rearview mirror. Nothing special about this. It has an auto dimming button, and that's about it. And it also does have a little compass indicator or direction indicator that lights up behind the glass when the truck is on. And then going up here, you have your visors, pretty standard. I have one of my gate clickers attached to this one. And the roof materials is kind of like nylon material, nothing special. In the center here, you've also got a sunglasses holder that folds down. And this is what it looks like when it's folded down. It does have a little bit of rubberized material on the inside. It's not like a nice felt like some of the high-end cars have. but it does the job and can hold your glasses. And then up here you have a button for your slip control to turn that off, as well as an off door only or on for your interior lights. And then the visor on this side. All right, now with the visor open and down, you can see it has a light on both sides of the mirror. The mirror does have a little bit of concavity to it, so it does magnify slightly, and it's just got a little plastic door over the top of it. One cool thing it does have is this little clip here, which you can use for putting mail or whatever, or parking passes, whatever you want to store there, and it has it on both visors. Another thing you can do is you can actually slide this visor to extend it. So as you can see here, it has a little thing saying slide, so when you have it disconnected from this latch, you can slide it back and forth, and it basically covers the entire extent of the side windows, which comes in handy. All right, going to the back of the truck, you can see the doors are pretty similar to the front doors. You have that little rubberized insert over here. You've got your door handle, and then you have your window switch right there. And going back down, you have two cup holders back here as well, and then you also have a lot more space to store things along here. As you can see, there's a little rubberized entry cover here on the door. There's one in the front as well. And as you can see, the leather seats carry over into the rear. I have some jackets and stuff over there that I didn't have time to get out. And this is the back of the center console. So as you can see, there's nothing really attached to it. It's just a plastic back to it. There are no vents in the rear. And from the rear, you can also see the center light in the middle, the dome light there. Headrests in the back. So these headrests raise and lower. The one in the center does the same as well. So this is technically a 5-seater. So you have 2 in the front and 3 in the rear. You also have these latches here on the top of the back of the headrest. So you can actually pull these seats down. So as you can see, this is what it looks like with the rear seats folded forward, the seat bottoms. As you can see on the top here, they have these 2 little notches. You can actually take the headrest off of the seat backs and store them in there, and then fold the seat down completely flat. If you don't want to do that, you can also just fold the headrest forward like this. It slides out, and then those pivot, and it allows you to fold it forward like that if you don't want them blocking your rear window. You can obviously put this down, and there's a plastic cover on the back of this, so with the seat folded all the way flat, you can have like a little table or storage area back here. And there's also like a little storage cubby here. There's one on each side. And then down here you also have another little storage cubby, which is just a plastic cubby under there. All right, going to the other side of the rear. This section of the seat also goes down, but it moves down as one piece. So you have the center and right seat back that all fold down together. In order to do that, there's another little lever right here that you pull. And the bottom of the seat folds forward as well, the same as the one on the other side. All right, so this is with the right rear seat bottom folded forward. As you can see, the storage compartment here houses your jack. It's also got a tire iron as well as the wheel lock. So the first time I went to go have the tires done on this, I didn't know. I went to the dealership because I didn't know where the wheel lock was. I didn't even know this compartment was here. So, and neither did the guys at the tire shop. So it's a little hidden compartment under here that stores all of your tools and stuff that you use for the truck. And as you can see here, it's actually connected to the compartment on the other side. So if you have both these folded forward and you open both of those doors, this is all just one big compartment down here. Now, another thing to be careful of with these trucks is when you put the seat bottom back up, the way the seat belts are attached, actually attached under the seat. So if you don't pull them out first and they get stuck under there, and the seat back actually, or the seat bottom won't latch back into position. All right, so this is with the right rear seat back folded forward. As you can see, it's also got a little compartment down there that you can store things in. Once again, it has a little lining at the bottom, and it's also got 2 hooks down there. This one here is actually the latch for the seat, so you don't want to attach anything to that. All right, and this is what the interior looks like from the front passenger side. Moving it over here to the left of the steering wheel, you can see you have a little cubby that you can use for storing things. It might be for a key or something like that. You can't really fit a phone in there, at least modern phones. But you can fit stuff in there, and it's also angled a little bit, so it'll hold it in there. I usually don't like to leave the key sitting in any car that I'm driving, just because sometimes I might forget it. Most of them have, lockout disable features, but still, I just don't like to worry about it. And then you can see here, you also have your on-off switch for your rear lights above the truck bed. And then you also have a socket voltage indicator that shows your AC 120, 100, and 400 watt, or 100 watt, 400 watt, and 120 volt indicator right there. And then you also have this switch here that you can push to open and close the rear center window, which is this back here. So it is powered and it's controlled by this switch down here. All right, so this truck has push to start. Now in order to do that, you put your foot on the brake, obviously, just like in every other car, and then you push the push to start button, which is right down here. Now, interesting about this truck, and I don't think I've seen this in another car, as soon as you put your foot on the brake, it actually lights up. As soon as you let go, it turns off again. Now, it does the same thing up here in the instrument cluster, so as soon as I put my foot on the brake, the instrument cluster lights up, and then it tells you what to do. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to push the start button, turn on the truck. As you can see, it has a little graphic of the Tacoma, and then it says Tacoma in the middle, and then everything comes to life. So if I go through the different modes, this is obviously my direction mode, so it'll give me a north, south, east, west, etc. And what's cool about it is it shows a little picture of the Tacoma in the middle, and it moves around the compass as you're driving in different directions. And as I mentioned before, in the mirror up here, it also has a little direction indicator. So you can see in the top right, it has a little N for the direction you're going. Right, so I'm going to move through the center screen here. So going into Bluetooth for my audio, I can hit up and down and go through, hit the center button if I want to go through different sources, and then select the one that I want to use. I can go into my tire pressure settings, which since I just started it, it's gathering the tire pressure. It doesn't show it yet, but the tire pressure sensor shows up there. Oh, there we go. This is going to be your messages. If you have any issues like, low tire or, service due, whatever it is, they'll show here. And they'll obviously pop up, and you have to escape out of them, even if you're not in this menu. And then going over here, you have settings. So if I hit the little center button, and then I can go in and adjust all of these different settings here. So I can go through, adjust the language, the units of measurement for like speed and all that stuff. Driver info for multiple drivers, pop-up display. So this means I can adjust the brightness, navigation, phone, shift position, all that good stuff I can change in my pop-up display. I can adjust the accent color as well. So if I wanted to use, red instead of blue, I can do that. As you can see, all that changed. So it gives you a little bit of control here and there, nothing major or fancy like a lot of these modern European cars. But for the price level this truck sits and all that stuff, you get some decent options. You can also add in a speed limit. You can give it a warning, display only, or off. And this will actually show the speed limit. As you can see down there in the bottom right corner, this will actually show the speed limit with a little red line around it when you start going over the speed limit, which is pretty cool. And going in here, I can customize any of these screens by holding that little button that I showed you earlier on the steering wheel right here. So if I hold that, I can go in and customize these screens and all that. I can do a maintenance reset here, which I just had to do because it said it was due for service, even though I had it serviced about 2 months ago. So the guy at the dealer just told me to do it here, and that's how I reset it. And then I can go back and reset all the settings to default. And as you can see at the top, it'll show the exterior temperature as well. So right now it's 58 degrees Fahrenheit outside. And I usually like to keep it over here on my compass. And there's one more screen which I didn't show you, which shows your miles per hour, distance to empty. You can also go through these. These are all your economy settings. So I average in this truck roughly 16 miles per gallon, but it's not that bad. And honestly, having the tonneau cover on the rear helped gas mileage quite a bit, especially when you're on the freeway. You can imagine those, the tailgate basically acts as a big windbreak back there. So having that flush tonneau cover in there actually helps quite a bit with gas mileage. I think I get like an extra 3 or 4 miles per gallon from what I've seen. All right, so going to the steering wheel now. The steering wheel has controls on it, just like most modern steering wheels do. So on the right side here, you have your up, down, left, right, and select for your menu in the center instrument cluster, as well as a back button right here. You've also got a little panel button down here that allows you to cycle through different panels in the instrument cluster. Over on the left side, on the bottom of the left spoke, you have a hang up and accept call button. Above that, you've got a mode button, which you can hold to mute the radio. And then up above that, you've got an up and down arrow. This is usually used for cycling through songs or menu items. And then you have a plus and minus volume, as well as a voice communication button here that allows you to do voice-activated features. And if you look at the steering wheel itself, it's basically a synthetic leather. Well, actually, it's more of a rubber. And then the sides of it, the right and left side, they have dimples in it. It's not really perforated, but it has little dimples in it to give the effect of being perforated. And over on the left side here, you've got your stalk, which is used to control your lights. So turning on and off your lights, brights, all that good stuff. Blinkers, everything is on that side. Pretty straightforward. Over on the right side, the stalk that you have is going to be for your windshield washers, so your wipers and your fluid. And if you pull it forward, it's going to spray the windshield. And if you hold it, it'll actually run the wipers. Down below that, there's a stalk that's used for cruise control. So you push the button on the end to enable cruise control. As you can see, it says off and on the end of it. And then once you push that in, you have different controls to set it. All right, so moving into the center console here, as you can see, it's got two cup holders up front, and above that, as I mentioned before, is the wireless charging pad. You also see that where the wireless charging pad is, if you look in the reflection of my phone there, there's a little light that shines down, so you can see what's in there pretty easily at night. The cup holders do have these two little flaps on the side. They're actually 4 flaps. There's 2 on each side, and those can basically hold different size cups that you put in there. You can basically fit anything up to like a large Fiji bottle, and they're kind of squared off a little bit, which helps for certain bottles. Now, in the center of the truck, as you can see here, you've got your emergency brake, which has a leather or synthetic leather cover on it. And then over here, you've got your gear shifter moving up. It's got a button on the front of it that you hold to actually shift it into gear. And then, as you can see, it's got your normal gear setup: park, reverse, neutral, drive, and then you can tap it over into sport and do plus or minus gear shifts. This truck does not have paddle shifters, but you can shift it up and down using the shifter here. Moving back from there, you can see you have a little cubby hole that you can put things in, this little square one here. You can actually use this as a cup holder for like those small Fiji bottles that are that shape. And then behind that, you've got a cup holder as well in a normal shape with a cutout in case you have like a handle or something for whatever you're putting in there. In the center here, you have a little storage compartment that has a door on top of it. I'll open that in a second. Behind that, you have 2 cup holders. One's holding my case for my sunglasses. The other one I've got a Red Bull in right now. So with the center armrest door up and the compartment open, you can see that under the little door, you have a little clip that you can put looks like a pin inside of if you want to store a pin in there. The handle for it looks like this. You just pull it open and it pops up. And then the bin itself is pretty straightforward. It's just a plastic bin. I believe it has a rubber liner on the bottom. And I've got a bunch of stuff inside there, like masks and all that good stuff. So over on the left, you have something called ECT power, which is this one here. This will actually basically change the gear ratio, allow for longer shift times and things like that, and it's supposed to give you more performance. I haven't really noticed any difference with it, but if you look it up online, it kind of goes into detail of what it actually does. But like I said, I haven't really noticed any difference with it. This button over here is to enable your wireless charger for the phone pad down below. Behind this flap, you have a USB port as well as an auxiliary port. And then over on the right side here, you've got your cigarette lighter, which I currently have a USB charging adapter plugged into. And that charges much faster than it would through just the USB port, which is designed more for data in this truck. And then going up above that, you have all of your climate controls. So over on the right, you have the airflow, so where the air is going to come out of, top, bottom, or both, or the top vents above by the windshield. And in the center, you have your temperature control. And then over on the left, you have your fan speed. And then in between those knobs, you've got your whether or not AC is enabled, and then your AC circulate button, which are both highlighted in green right now. Then over to the left, you have your heated mirror button. Above that, you have your button for hazard lights. And then as I showed you earlier, you have the button to push to start. Going up above all of that, you've got your infotainment system. So this is touchscreen, which is pretty cool. And you notice on the right and left of it, you have your AC vents. Then obviously you have one all the way on the right side, and then all the way on the left side over here. So going into audio, it gives me all these different options. So I have my AM, FM, XM, iHeartRadio, Bluetooth audio, which is what I use. You can plug in USB or auxiliary. You can do a CD. If I hit the right button and move to the right, you can see it also gives me Pandora and Slacker as options. And if I want to go in and reorder those, I can hit that reorder button and allow me to move them around. Going back and tapping audio again, you can see at the top right, I can select my source. And that'll take me to that same selection. I can select a device, which will give me a list of devices that I've had connected, or I can attach new devices. And you'll see over on the right, it shows a phone icon as well as a music icon. So I can choose, like, maybe I have a tablet that I want to use for music, and then my phone I want to use as my actual phone device. I can select those in there. I can also go in and remove any of the devices, add and adjust system settings down here. So going into the system settings, you can see that I have whether or not I'm using Bluetooth power, Bluetooth name. For this, I can go in and change the name if I want to. It's Toyota Tacoma by default. The pin for it, display phone status, which I have that enabled. It'll show, obviously, cell reception, battery, and all that stuff, which you can see on the top up here. Right. So now if I go over into the Apps tab, it has navigation. This truck does have navigation. It has audio, phone, messages, eco. So go into eco mode. It'll actually show me all the eco statistics for the truck. So the current range, the elapsed time since I've turned it on, my average speed, miles per gallon, all that good stuff. And if I tap on past record, it can say my, it'll show my best miles per gallon and my average miles per gallon. So you can see average is just under 18 miles per gallon. I guesstimated I get around 16, so that makes a little bit more sense. And I can obviously go in and reset all this. And if I tap trip information, it'll go in here and show me my average speed, the elapsed time, range, etc. Basically taking me back to that previous menu. And then if I go in here, this is going to show my current information. So I basically hit update, and it essentially resets my, information for the eco mode. Going back into apps, you can see I have setup, I have traffic, I have weather. Going to the right, I also have these options for maintenance, destination search, iHeartRadio, movie tickets, Open Table, Pandora, Save Destinations, Facebook Places. And moving to the next and final screen, it's got Yelp, Sports, Stocks, Fuel Guide, and Slacker. So it has a bunch of apps installed. I'm not really sure if there's a way to add more apps to this or do any kind of software update or anything that allows you to get more apps, but those apps are available in there. I've actually never used any of these. I just use Spotify on my phone, and I also use navigation on my phone or my tablet when they're plugged in. If I go into the setup menu, you can see it's got general. I can adjust my home screen, voice controls, display, Bluetooth, phone, audio, navigation. And I can also adjust my settings for my eTune, HD data, hard drive data, driver preferences, vehicle, and traffic information. Right? And at the bottom, I can also turn the screen off if I want to, which is the same as pushing that power button knob on the bottom left. And then going into the traffic menu, I can adjust the traffic, or look at the traffic event list, predictive traffic map, and my traffic routes. And then you can see once I go into traffic event list, it gives me a list of, it looks like issues that are going on those roads, like things to avoid, so construction, things like that. And if I tap on current road, it tells me there are no traffic incidents on the current road. And then going into the predictive traffic map, this is what it looks like. If I tap on the little arrow on the right, I'm not sure how well you can see that. If I tap on the little arrow on the right there, I can go from now to plus 15 minutes. So basically tell me traffic conditions moving forward. It's obviously not that advanced of a system like you would get in Google Maps or something like that, so I don't really use it. And then I just tapped on my traffic routes. As you can see, it's letting me, it's telling me that my traffic routes feature will let you save your favorite routes, so you can quickly check for traffic later. Would you like to save a route? And you can go in and save routes and do all that good stuff. Now if I tap the home button and go back to the home screen for the infotainment system, this is what it looks like. So you can see select and hold to add a contact. Down at the bottom, I have my Bluetooth information on the top left that shows the navigation screen on the right and all that stuff, so it just kind of partitions it out for you. All right, so that's going to conclude this video on the 2017 Toyota Tacoma TRD Sport. Hopefully you found some useful information, whether you're just curious or you're actually looking to buy one of these trucks.